Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where in the world you are joining us from. You've reached the bus station. This is Busted Out. We are the Brunch Busters. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, my Brunch Buster brother, Chris Parrish. How are you doing on this sunny Sunday morning?
I'm doing just well, and I wouldn't say it's very sunny because she's behind bars, but the day itself is looking fantastic. How's everybody's Sunday doing? Bobby, how was your Saturday night? Because I believe you were at a little independent wrestling show, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm doing my best, but I'm a little tired today. The last night's show went longer than usual, and we weren't sure what to think going into this. Of course, we always love pro wrestling action. It's a fun night. We get a lot of people out. Yeah, you, Parrish, have been there. You know the audience is wild. But summertime's always a tough draw. And no matter where you are, summertime's always going to be a tough draw. You're always up against people at the lake, weddings. And last night in Saskatoon alone, we had Folk Fest weekend going on. So this is where we have different international pavilions and everybody showing off the different national dances and celebrations, drinks and food. This is a big event throughout Saskatoon. So Folk Fest weekend we were up against. We had a Rod Stewart concert in town last night that was really, really well sold out. Amongst other and also the car show and shine weekend here in Saskatoon as well too, with the classic cars driving up and down 8th Street afterwards. So we were up against very stiff competition, but yet we managed to once again sell the place right out, shoulder to shoulder traffic with a very hot crowd for PPW Presents Hotter Than Hell. And let me tell you, Parrish, what a card. What a card, man. We had all sorts of people. Like we had Taryn from accounting making her debut there. And of course, people popped huge for Taryn. Taryn was she wasn't very friendly last night, so to speak. She seemed a little ticked off that the books haven't been balancing, so she took her frustration out on Saskatoon's favorite wrestler, Uncle Phil Deadly. And then, throughout the night, we also had Amir Jordan, former NXT UK superstar, coming to join us for the very first time. And I was also informed there's a very good chance we might even see Amir Jordan at the very next Prairie Pro Wrestling show as well, too. Very excited about that. Great, wonderful person. The fans maybe not thought so much because of his alliance with Barack Garani, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, not everybody makes the best first impressions, but over time it usually works well. I can tell that one from experience. So,
but you know what? Speaking of a person that made a good first impression and continues to make a great impression time and time again, it's our good friend Bobby Petito joining us in the chat. Happy Sunday, Bobby. How's your weekend been, my friend?
When you talk, you totally don't tell when I put up the comments, do you?
Oh, no, I totally don't.
I'm
tired, man. We didn't say good morning yet. I mean, comment could be on the screen. We didn't officially say good morning to our good friend Bobby Petito yet.
Well, no, it was something I was taking into consideration when you were doing your stream. No, your Texas Massacre stream.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
But no, quite funny. But how are you doing, Bobby? How's your day going? Thanks for checking us out on the YouTube side of things. And just a reminder, if you are checking us out on the YouTube side of things, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up and you're giving us that like, because you want to be a little bit more informed every time our local establishment goes on next time. So make sure you just hit that subscribe button. You do all that good stuff because you don't realize sometimes, just sometimes, hitting those likes, they do a lot of good things for us and our analytics. We also have Bastard coming in. Good morning, Bastard. How are you doing this morning?
As well too. It's my other one of my other video bros right there was down at ringside running cameras for us last night. So yeah, Bastard. In fact, Bastard's second time running cameras for us at Prairie Pro Wrestling, and this time he got to film somebody who's got the 100% boys. Perfect. I just want to mention this because I thought it was the coolest experience for me when I finally got to film and put together a match of Cody Rhodes back in the day. And I know Amir Jordan might not be quite at the level of a Cody Rhodes, but it's still I imagine for Bastard, it's your first experience filming somebody that's kind of outside of the regular circle of wrestlers that we tend to use in Western Canada. It's somebody who's kind of a little bit more world traveled, has worked for a company that you see on TV on that kind of level. So it's always a really cool experience to get somebody new through the door that you get to the opportunity to take part in doing something that's through their career anyway.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all fans, right? So when we get to see something somebody different. And then he's also saying it was spectacular. TFA.
Yeah. Yeah. The fans were shocked when TFA was there last night. There was this visible, like, big cheer and pop for her. And then when she came out and didn't want to shake anybody's hands, and she was definitely upset because the books weren't balancing, they were like, "Hey, wait a second, why is she so angry with us?" And then when Uncle Phil came out, well, I mean, end of story. Again, you put anybody in the ring with Saskatoon's favorite wrestler, Uncle Phil Deadly, and they're immediately the bad person in the matchup.
Yeah. Kind of transitioning to another person who likes to be the bad person, but also somebody that likes to I guess bust out once in a while. Matt Cardona, who is set to make his MLW appearance at Fury Road?
Yes, Fury Road in a couple of weeks here, exactly 2 weeks to be exact.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting. And again, I know Bobby's mentioning that he's doing great. Watched Cardona and Steph DeLander do the Ghostbusters entrance at GCW Homecoming.
You just completely took away. Like,
I burnt you.
Like, you just have to talk. No.
But yes, I mean that I didn't even know that had happened. But again, like the fact that there's this link between Cardona and Steph DeLander makes a lot of us very heavily speculate that there is a possibility of Steph DeLander coming over to the MLW side as well too.
I wanted to use the Ghostbuster reference as a way. It was cool though. It was cool. They came out on the Ecto, like a real Ecto, and they had their own custom Ghostbusters theme, which was awesome, like the Ray Parker one. They wrestled against Maki Ito and Nick Gage.
Oh God, I was okay until you said Nick Gage. I'm sorry, I do not like Nick Gage at all.
No, I could have gauged that.
You could have gauged that. That's good to know.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
There's no interest. There's nothing I've ever seen by Nick Gage that interests me whatsoever.
Do you think Matt Cardona is reaching the pinnacle of his like independent life? Like he should kind of now think about going to a televised, like a regular televised show now, as we have Noob coming in saying, "Hello, How are you doing? Doing great. How are you doing?"
Yeah. It's all good up on this side. But to answer your question with Cardona, I think he's been at that point for a while, but I am also wondering, like, is it worth it? Like right now, he's the center of attention no matter where he goes. He's the big dog every time he walks into a room. And I know that he's kind of done like a Cody Rhodes and really kind of reestablished himself on the independent circuit, but that doesn't mean that he would get the kind of Cody Rhodes level welcoming at a WrestleMania from the WWE or that kind of spot. Like, and we all know, like, if it went to the AEW side, he would go AEW and it would be the big spotlight for 2 weeks before Tony got a new plaything and decided to go somewhere else. I just think for Cardona's sake, I don't know if joining on a contract anywhere is in his best interest. And I mean, I can't say what he should do. That's up to him. But I see where you're coming from. I 100% get your reference and everything like that. I just think for his own sake, maybe he feels better being able to go out and do what he wants and be the big guy on the cards that he's doing.
Yeah, but that's assuming that there can't be a way or an opportunity for him to still do and be who he wants to be in a field like an AEW, like a WWE. Because as we saw, just with Cody Rhodes, who would have even thought that when Cody Rhodes came back, you not only would have got the American Nightmare, not only would have you gotten that actual logo used, you would have saw the Cody Vader, as he likes to call it now, but he also used his actual theme that actually has taken a shot to his time in WWE. So it's tough to say that nowadays, if negotiated properly, I guess is the right phrase to say it, that he can't be Matt Cardona as we see on a television screen. Because I'm sure, and Matt Cardona being one of the guys who says it specifically, he grew up a guy who's a big WWE fan. I can't fathom him not wanting a chance to be Matt Cardona at a WrestleMania or on a big stage like an All-In at Wembley Stadium. I think being in front of that many people is still something every professional wrestler wants.
Certainly, and I'm not saying it's never going to happen either. I'm just saying that maybe he wants to still take the time to continue to be the big dog where he is, because there's again, like you look at the landscape over on the other side of the fence right now, like with AEW and WWE, they've got a lot currently going on. And then you try to slot a Matt Cardona in there in the position that he would want and deserve to be in coming back. So again, he's got all the negotiating power here. That's the thing. He's created enough of a name that when it's time for him to go to one of the other ones, he doesn't have to be desperate because he needs the money. He doesn't have to be desperate because he needs the opportunity. He gets to sit at that table and tell them, no, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, or I walk, kind of thing. Because at this point, they need Matt Cardona more than Matt Cardona needs them. Morning, Ed. How are you?
It's nice to see Ed popping in the chat.
And I wish Barry Monkey was here, because remember when I teased breaking news last week and then told Barry Monkey to stay tuned for next week? Like, where is he?
I think you pissed him off.
I scared Barry, but hey, Barry showed up on Thursday night, so I couldn't have pissed him off too much. Maybe he could go back to Impact Wrestling. That's always a possibility. Ed, does anyone really need Matt Cardona? I think you need some Matt Cardona in your life. Can you imagine Matt Cardona versus Jay White, Ed? You'd be oh yeah, hearts all around. I guarantee.
Special announcer Lash Legend.
Yeah. Lash Legend on color commentary.
Even I don't want to hear that. I can't even keep a straight face on that one.
Anyway, despite the fact that Barry Monkey's not here, I'm going to let everybody know the news that next weekend. Hold on. Did you?
I told you I made videos and we went through this.
I told you I'm tired. You got to stop me. So good. I'm stopped.
I did know.
All right.
I learned my lesson.
All right.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold on here. Hold on.
And I'll go back to doing what I'm doing right now. However, I guess I will. So next week, you will not see my face on screen as I am away for some personal matters. So you will see a new co-host for the week only. But actually, I'm so good you need to. And, let's just give it to you.
Breaking news, something recorded.
Yeah. Ed.
Ed?
And guess what, Ed? You'll be on the show that's introducing Jay White for the All-In Wembley Stadium. So just know that one. So have fun. And if people want to know who the second one is, just because we'll do it again, we got another.
More breaking news.
Another.
We're being taken over on Busted Out next Sunday.
It's a hybrid episode.
Ed, we're gonna talk all about AEW next weekend, buddy. See, we're like the lead-in show. It's like we're the tailgate party going into AEW. Aren't you excited? Oh man. Plot twist, Ed didn't know he was supposed to be on. Ed doesn't have a choice, damn it.
Yeah. We don't play
I have control of his computer camera. I will make Ed be on the show. Awesome, Bobby. Glad. I'm very happy to be having Ed and Astor join in anything. Again, it's Ed's third time hopping on with us on Busted Out, I believe, and Astor's very first time joining us on Busted Out. So
Well, they're not joining; they're co-hosting. So it's
Co-host. They're
completely different.
taking over.
Yeah, I mean,
Busting
the
out. I'm just
second episode,
here.
we saw Ed.
I'm just here to hang out, and they're gonna do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, Ed was on the second episode that we had of Busting Out, and then he was on a later one with Tom Collihu, I believe.
Yeah.
And then so this is the third appearance from Ed as making it. And then, as you said, Astrid's first time debut, gonna be rocking the red on the Sunday afternoon. So
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. And
Yeah.
look how excited Ed is already. Look at this. Ed
Yeah.
talks about AEW. Like, that sounds like a great show. Old Ed talks AEW, man. Like, let's set it up. You got time during the week, don't you, Ed? Like Wednesdays, Saturdays, pay-per-views. Like, don't you just want to talk AEW all the time?
hey, leave him on the Wednesdays, all right? We can't afford to miss another episode.
He's got a point here. He's got a very strong point with this one. See? We had that one running. Yeah.
Yeah, but you lost it, so we don't. Do you want to count that? No, just kidding. Is that fun?
So tusking outver or like busting takeout.
And what we like to say on Monday nights in the watch along, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper.
I will watch AEW All In and review it if OLE buys it. Ed, you know there's always a stream available for like everything when it comes to OLE. Someone here has the availability, my friend. I'm sure of that.
Okay, Bobby Bonino said CM Punk is wrestling against Samoa Joe at AEW All In, and
Yeah.
I gotta say, did you see the setup to this?
No, I really haven't. Again, you're asking me. I watched wrestling during the week.
Hey, I saw this on the X, on the clips on the X.
On the
So
X.
Samoa Joe was wrestling a guy by the name of the Golden Vampire.
What?
Yeah, it's
What?
basically a bush league conquistador with fangs on the chest, and then with the neck. Ends up being none other than CM Punk, because we don't need 90% of the roster he sends home every week. I can come up with gigantic crap ideas, and then ends up hitting one of the worst go-to-sleeps on Samoa Joe I've ever seen. Oh dear, CM Punk, I think you need to start doing some squats, buddy. Yeah.
Mind you, half the people
Might want to get all in that gymnasium and start lifting some weights. Might be straight edge, but you don't have to be completely weak in the knees.
Like, I know people are upset with Punk, and Punk's never been one of my favorites by any means, but I sometimes get it because I'm like, some of these wrestlers these days, like, oh my God, like just want to create havoc and problems and cry about everything. Like, oh, the big bad tough 5'10" man fucking told me to go home. Suck it up.
No, but at the same time, like, he's the one who also bitched about not getting his way. And fucking and then started some fights in the backstage. And
tell me Punk hasn't been doing that his whole career, and everybody's been okay with him being like that every other time. Like, he was known as a complainer and a whiner before he even came to WWE for the first time. He had a reputation for his locker room.
But not to the extent of that, though.
No, because he got bigger. The bigger you get, the more like that can become. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not putting up a photo. No.
You don't want. I think it's funny. I mean, I'm doing it. There it is.
We can't just have some standards over on Busting Out.
I bet Nick Nemeth could have done a better go to sleep. Yeah, well, Nick Nemeth might have been able to, but his brother Ryan sure hasn't done a whole lot lately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, or whatever ridiculous. Yeah, it's Ryan Nemeth, and yeah, that's why nobody remembers. They're just like, I'll just call him Nick because his brother's bitter anyway.
I just like that. Don't know his brother's name, but I'll call Ziggler by his real name. kind of made me laugh. Thanks for the laugh.
It's funny. All right.
I appreciate that.
You're
But yeah, no, but I mean, we're talking about guys that like to wreak havoc, but here's a team that actually does wreak havoc in the tag team scene that is set to reunite. Perhaps one last time, one more time, who knows? But this September on the Impact tapings, we have Team 3D reuniting.
interesting.
Now, I'm kind of over nostalgia, to be quite honest. I think it's too overused in wrestling. However, I kind of like this because I do think the one thing Impact needs is some more directional veteranship in their company. And I don't think you can go wrong with either Bully Ray or Brother Devon on Team 3D. To add to that, I think their tag team division is getting a little stale. So I kind of like it with that as well.
I mean, we'll see. Like I'm kind of with you where it's like the nostalgia factor is kind of wearing off on a lot of this stuff for me too. As far as like Team 3D, the Dudley Boys, like I never ranked them that high to begin with. Like I like them all right, but I don't like them enough to really care about this reformed reuniting. I do like your thought that you need more veteran input there, but I think they need veteran input from a stance of like helping out backstage, helping people learn their craft and get over and stuff like that. I think that's where the veterans really can help out in a place like Impact Wrestling. Going in there for a match, depending on who it's with and what you're going to do with it. If it's to put a young team over, sure, go for it, for sure. But I don't rank Team 3D. I wouldn't even put them in my top 10 tag teams of all time. Like, not even close.
I believe that there's two ways you can teach people. Yeah, I understand the backstage stuff because we see that all the time, especially in NXT when you got the likes like Shawn Michaels, when you got the likes of Norman Smiley and, you know, the who's who, right? But I still believe that when you're in the ring, you can learn a lot through the motion and just like in there as well. I know for a fact because we see it all the time. Bully Ray can still go. He can't go to, you know, the level. And then in a tag team aspect, I can see Brother Devon being that very good. Will slow things down and kind of just, you know, doing the right thing at the right time and showing you how to do that. So if they're able to do that for the other generational talent that they have, whether it's like the Ace and Bays of the groups, or, you know, maybe we will get a Machine Guns Dudley Boys another match. Who knows? It's Impact, and they like to go in that direction sometimes. But
doesn't this just reek of like the nostalgia moments? Like it's going to be a spot fest for people who remember the Dudleys. Like it's going to be your typical, you know, their tandem moves, and then it's going to be, you know, the was up spot, and then it's going to be the Devon get the table spot. Like it's all going to be there. But we've seen that. We've seen that reunited. We've seen that nostalgia spot from them before. If anything, if they're going to get back together, I'd love to see them completely 360 us and do something out of the box. Like think outside of the box and do something we don't expect from Team 3D.
And this is why you got to watch it, because who knows what they're going to be doing, and who knows if it's a one-time thing or if it's just a one last run. Like I don't know. All we know is that they are set to reunite during those tapings. So,
remember when the Hardy Boys reunited? Where'd that go?
At WrestleMania 33, that was a giant pop, though. That was
WrestleMania 33, and then they reunited in AEW. And
well, I mean, you can't compare WrestleMania. not taking anything away from AEW because I could do that. I'm just not doing it with this comparison. But there's nothing in professional wrestling.
Oh, come on,
WrestleMania.
AEW's all primed for their big Goldberg debut next Sunday. Bill Goldberg's going to come out and he's going to assist Sting because Sting's going to need someone to prop him on their shoulders afterwards to celebrate.
No, it's not just Goldberg. It's also the Ryback. And it's also,
They're
because everybody
just going to stack wrestlers on shoulders. I mean, the youngest guy at the bottom, followed by the next guy, followed by Sting at the very top of the pyramid to celebrate in London.
And haven't you read social media? Jacob Fatu, or not Jacob Fatu, but the guy formerly known as Jey Uso, who quit WWE. Jacob Fatu, maybe is his
yeah, Jay Fatu.
And then Sexton Hardcastle might be there too if you read the internet. So
the internet knows, Parrish. The internet.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
If you listen to the Smarks, you'll know everything. Because if you throw everything at the wall, something's got to stick eventually, right? Journalism.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I honestly think when you add some veteranness to a locker room in any faucet, if they're in the wrestling and in the ring capacity, I mean, just don't do anything to embarrass your legacy. I think that is one of the biggest things we always see with the older wrestlers wanting to come back. They always are a fraction of what they used to be. And there's like this beautiful meme that's out there where a guy goes to his first show with his father and he sees The Undertaker for the first time. And then he takes his son to a WrestleMania and it's The Undertaker from the last time. And I hate to crap on The Undertaker because he's one of the all-time greats. But at the same time, he was a fraction of what he used to be. And then his kid had not the same first impression or perception of The Undertaker as he had. And that is a true thing. And it's been happening all the time before I started wrestling, after I stopped wrestling. You just got to understand that even when you get to that age and you see that there's changes in you, whether it's age, whether it's body, whether it's whatever, you have to adapt if you're in the ring. You can't go back and do all the hits if you can't do them.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen that in wrestlers before, too, that have had a long career and everything, and they've had to adjust their game halfway through because they're not the young person they once were, so they got to take a different direction, a different step. And it doesn't always happen. You're right. And again, Undertaker's a perfect example in every sense of the word because we all know it. Like, especially if you grew up on The Undertaker, and you remember seeing him. This is a guy that kept kayfabe alive even when everyone said kayfabe was dead. Like, you didn't see The Undertaker doing interviews or anything like that. So when you started to see those cracks in his ability because of the age, the kayfabe level, and all of that mystique that surrounded Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, started to come down, and he started to look human. And that's what really, really hurt the legacy of The Undertaker. Not that anything could really completely sour the legacy of The Undertaker, because he was still smart enough to finally say no more. But the problem is that we're still going to remember on his way out with some pretty rough matches.
Yeah. But also at the same time, like we saw the Boneyard match with AJ Styles, and I know the perception going into that was hilarious. So like, what's a Boneyard match? This sounds stupid. What the heck? And then it ends up being one of the best parts about that WrestleMania that week.
It's probably one of the only half decent cinematic matches that's ever been put on. And again, being not a huge fan, like I wanted to give cinematic matches a better opportunity. Pop Smokes and I did a whole episode about them and stuff like that. And again, like,
he still hates you for that.
Oh, I know he still hates me for it. Like, because like we were on the same consensus. Even he was fine with the Boneyard match because again, the Boneyard match wasn't too insulting. It was like a little sub movie. Like he said, he goes, if he takes away the fact that it's labeled as wrestling and just looks at it as a video put together with people from wrestling in it, he didn't have a problem with it. Now, the problem was that was the same weekend that we also had the Firefly Funhouse match, and Papa Smokes is never going to let me live it down. He hates me forever for making him watch the Firefly Funhouse match. Yes, it is better than that. I didn't, again, like I wanted to not dislike the Firefly Funhouse match, and at first I didn't. I'll admit to thinking it was kind of interesting and unique and stuff like that, but the more cinematic matches I saw and the more Bray Wyatt I saw, the more I dislike that match, or if you can even call it a match, that video, because that was the first step to the ultimate decline of everything that was ever interesting about Bray Wyatt, and it only got worse from there. But yes, how dare me? I said it. I'm the one on screen. You want to fight me on it? You got time next weekend. Come here Sunday. We'll talk about this.
Catch him on stream. How about that?
yeah.
Oh my God. Next week on Busting Out, Everybody Hates featuring Bobby Munson.
It's the rant. It's the rant off.
Stuck in the middle.
Astrid will be leading this debate as Ed Fries and I go one-on-one talking about how shitty the Firefly Funhouse match was. He might be busy now.
You are never too busy on hating stuff. We see your comments every stream.
Oh, Ed. I'm gonna next Sunday's gonna be fun. Oh, I'm gonna love it.
I'm gonna be in the Toronto airport, which is gonna be just as glorious. But no, I mean, hey, God, not everybody loves everything, but there's always something for everyone. That's the beauty of professional wrestling. Just like if you go to our friends over at rogueenergy.com, you could check out their catalog, whether or not you want to get some of the nice flavors of their energy. Or maybe if you're a U.S. resident, you want to buy it in a can. You can do that, but maybe you don't even want that. Maybe you want to get some swag and get some hats, some mouse pads, some merch, apparel. You can do that as well. Just when you remember to go to that checkout menu, that you use our promo code OLE Pod, so you can save yourself 10% of your order, and that way you can get what you want, you can save some money, and we are happy to have helped you. But yeah, got to segue off the hate train, because that's not what we want on the rails that are slightly off track right now.
Like that's never happened every single weekend.
I also said slightly. So not like it's not terrible.
You're a shoulder cat because you don't know when to sit down.
So this Friday we saw potentially a match that we don't know if we'll ever see again, because one man, as we framed this or referenced earlier as Saxon Hardcastle, better known as everybody as Edge, wrestled his final match, or on his contract, or forever. That is what's being discussed right now. One of the things we do know is that Edge himself has announced that that was the final match on his contract, and his contract is scheduled to end at the end of September. What the future holds, he sadly doesn't know yet, as he addressed the Toronto crowd after SmackDown, saying he can't go another full year, or doesn't think he can, but he needs to make sure he takes some time to discuss with his wife and kids about his future. Leading to speculation, Tony Khan and him are now best friends.
Internet journalism at its finest.
He is going to team up with Christian. They're both going to be the TNT champion, apparently. He's also going to do some matches with FTR, as FTR might be a one-man show at All In this weekend.
They might be. It's going to be a handicap match, which still doesn't favor the Bucks.
Don't want to jump the gun, though. We're just going to leave it at that.
Oh, nice reference there. Don't want to jump the gun. You're funny.
But we are talking Edge right now, because the match he had with Sheamus on SmackDown was very good. We talked earlier about making sure you're not a fraction of what you are. Edge showed that he just wasn't a fraction. He was the whole thing. I thought that match was absolutely amazing, especially for a televised match. He did pick up the win, where a lot of people were shocked, because yes, they probably were expecting Sheamus to win, leading to the speculation, is he actually done or not? But Bobby, what are your thoughts on Edge and the match he had with Sheamus, And afterwards, let's take the time that if this is everything, maybe reflect on Edge a little bit.
Yeah. So again, like, I mean, if it's the last time that he ever wrestles, then, you know, thank you for all the times that you went out there, put your body on the line and gave us that over your career. I mean, you know, I never will not appreciate that from somebody who I believe actually appreciates and doesn't make a joke of the professional wrestling business. Now, as for the matchup, you know, a lot of people want that whole, like, if it's going to be your last match, putting someone over on the way out. Sheamus doesn't need it. Sheamus has won everything outside the Intercontinental title there is to win in the WWE. Sheamus doesn't need a victory over Edge on his way out to do anything. Now, if this was an up-and-comer, somebody who they need that rub for right now, and I'm not like, I mean, you know, if he was against someone like an LA Knight could use that something to put him over a little bit. Yeah. But, you know, yeah, or somebody younger too, kind of thing. But Sheamus doesn't. And so what they needed from Sheamus in Toronto was a solid matchup in front of Edge's hometown crowd, because if he gets to say that that's his, if that ends up being the last time he wrestles, not A, in front of your hometown crowd, B, with a quality opponent, and C, with a great matchup. You talked earlier about that mystique and stuff dying because you go a little too far. If Edge walks away now and decides to whatever he does in the future, which will likely probably get down to helping out with some things backstage, possibly getting more into an office role, should he choose. Maybe he just wants to spend time with his family. I mean, he's put in enough. Go for it, kind of thing. Edge can do what Edge wants to do, but if you believe for a second Edge is showing up at All In London, that's all I'm going to laugh about. Hey, a Canadian said, hey, oh, we say, hey, you little hoser. What do you expect, huh? What's that all about?
I took the high road and made a joke, but we can really say what, I mean, actually, I'll do this. All In, a week away, makes a Canadian joke. We'll just say the Americans, they're all about that boom. With that being said, don't even have a
as I drink my very Canadian Tim Hortons coffee.
I just have beer down here, and I don't want to do that. So
that's it. That could be a Canadian thing too.
I mean, it is crap.
You know the hockey parents everywhere aren't actually drinking Tim Hortons when they bring this to the rinks in the morning, right? Like this is usually filled with beer or some other substance of the sort.
Where do you think the phrase "double double" really comes from? See, and
I don't think we're ever going to see that. Honestly, I don't think so.
I'm just having a hard time coming to the reality of, or even the honest truth of this, is that a guy who always wanted to wrestle for the WWF gets signed to the WWF, grows up in the WWF, company becomes WWE, he stays in the WWE, is one of the focal up-and-comers through that, one of their biggest eras, really, and one of the better transitional eras from the Attitude Era into, you know, what we known as Reality Era. But during the WCW time, when they bought that company out, really was a face that wasn't in the main event picture, but definitely one of the biggest faces of that. So when they're done with that, that's when he shone. First ever Money in the Bank winner, cashed in a New Year's resolution against or revolution against John Cena. Like, this guy did so much. He was forced to retire, came back. Yeah, there is some negotiations with Tony Khan, but ultimately he chose to go back to WWE because there is a want out of Edge from WWE just as much as anything else. I can't see that guy not finishing it off in the WWE.
And let me ask this: does anybody know when was the last time Edge upped his contract with WWE? Because I'm pretty sure that it was well after the formation of AEW and Christian being in AEW. So, my whole
it was during the pandemic, because he signed the one contract, I believe, when he came back to the Rumble.
Okay, so there was no like upping the contract since then, kind of thing, or that was just the one solid contract since then, or
I'm thinking that it was either one or two, but even then AEW was around.
Yeah. Because keep it in mind too, like he was not tied to anything while he was injured that said he couldn't have gone and got doctor approval to wrestle for somebody else then, right? Like he could have gone and done
He
any
returned.
of that. Debuted in
not debut.
2020 while AEW was, I mean, he could have just as easily gone to AEW instead of coming back to WWE. He had already done all he needed to do in WWE, really, other than return. So, I mean, and he chose that route, right? So, yeah, I think you're right on the money edge. Ed, sorry, Edge. But I just,
What, you think you know him?
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm right with you though, personally, because I just feel like Edge has always had that opportunity to possibly go and do that, and I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Edge personally. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so I can't speak on it. But who knows? But Christian and FTR weren't already there in 2020. That's the difference. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could make the argument for it. I just don't personally see it. And again, I don't know. I'm not an actual journalist. I just play one on TV. So, it's hard to say. Hey, speaking of people joining us next Sunday, it's Astrid. How's it going, Astrid? Lovely for you to join us here. And then now Barry Monkey shows up after we already broke the news. I mean, I tell you, Barry, that I got big news for you this week, and then you show up halfway through. But yes, as announced earlier, busting over is getting taken. Busted out, so he's getting taken over next Sunday.
Can anybody remember the damn shows in this place now? My Lord.
I told you, damn it, I'm tired. I was up late last night dealing with fucking wrestlers. Yes, as announced earlier, the hosts of Taking Over, Astrid Pizarro and OLED are going to be joining me on screen next Sunday as Busting Out gets taken over.
Take two.
Yes, you missed it. So did Barry, who I made wait an entire week for it.
Yeah, that was a dick move. It was funny, but it was
funny. Yes, they will be joining us next week. Like I said, they're doing the show. I'm just going to sit here and watch how real work gets done. You know, that's my job next week.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Ashley needs a redo. She needs us to break the breaking news again.
Hey, go back and watch our this is the beauty of us being on YouTube and on the Twitch. You can always go back and rewatch it at your leisure. Yeah. That's why it's important to hit that notification bell and get subscribed, follow, like the video so you can get that alert every time we do. Hey, nobody tells us what to do. Set up
perfectly for that comment right there. Like just segued into it so beautifully.
I mean, it's what I do. All right, I am a professional, and
you were up all night writing these lines, weren't you?
I was up for a good chunk of the night. I will say that. We got Joshua Joseph coming in saying, "What up, boys? How's it going? Sorry being late. Long time at the deathmatch tournament. No need being late. Apparently, a lot of people came late, but just so you're updated, like everybody else, Astrid Pizarro and Ed Fries will be co-hosting Busting Out next Sunday with Bobby Munson. Yes, that's right. The hosts of Taking Over decided they need to bust out on a Sunday. So next week's episode will feature Bobby Munson, Astrid Pizarro, and Ed Fries as it leads into All Elite Wrestling's all-in show at Wembley Stadium. Boom. That's how you do it, one shot. Just saying.
And I understand about having a long night last night because I'm in the same boat, Josh, as we kicked off the hour. I was talking all about the PPW show from last night. That was incredible, but very tiring. So I get it. But the Ed now asking if he has to host again on Sunday. You know what, Ed? I'll get us started. I'll host, and then I'll just let you take over and do the things that make your show so magical on Tuesday nights, which is just be in your shining, personal, wonderful self.
You have to realize this is our show, all right?
See, next Sunday, it's going to be nothing but shiny, happy people.
You guys are going to force me to, run in on an airplane or something, aren't you?
We're good. We're good. We got you.
Oh,
We got you, man. It's all good.
man.
Taking over part deux.
I got to work a lot of overtime next week, apparently, people. But yeah. I'm not bad for my own show, Astrid.
I'm
What
just
the Rick hell are you?
You go ahead and click that.
Come on. I am not bad, all right? This is my show as well as Bobby's. I've been saying your name. We showed a graphic. It's not my fault you were late.
You were on there.
Bobby, thank you. Wrestling Talk is what we do here. Power Hobbs is wrestling against Miro at AEW All Out. I did see that. I like that promo that Miro had. About time Miro's getting some relevance on the AEW show.
Well, yeah, here's the thing, too, is they got like 2 pay-per-views back-to-back, so they got to start building something. So that was it. Waited all week. Tell my wrestling chums on Twitch how an amazing exclusive news for them and that, buddy. Well, Barry, don't trust a Bobby. That's what it comes down to.
Never said it was going to be bad. Just
plus, I think it's phenomenal news myself. I think if your friends don't like it, then clearly they just don't get it.
Watch the show.
Everybody in the chat always keeps us in line, so they try.
Yeah, I mean, attempts are always welcome. But
Ed's got to bring the funny. Oh, doesn't Ed always bring the funny? Ed's just a joyful watch. Hey, how can you not love everything Ed does? Same with Astrid. How can you not love it? You know why? That's why Taking Over does the numbers it does, because you guys love tuning in on a Tuesday night to see what they'll do next. So now you get to watch them in an earlier capacity on a Sunday afternoon with me. Who knows what kind of shenanigans are going to go down?
Yeah. I have to ask, since we're talking about Edge, what was your favorite memory of Edge? If this was all said and done, if he's hanging up the boots, whether it's Sex and Hardcastle or The Edge, what was your biggest takeaway from Edge?
Okay, so outside of the fact that him and Christian being one of the better tag teams of all time, I thought they were humorous and great, and I loved watching their work. In terms of like Edge as a singles competitor, the best thing for me was getting to see him on a live pay-per-view, just because the atmosphere of seeing someone in a live capacity is always better. And being able to see him, I believe he took on Kane at that Backlash. You can back me up on that, Parrish, because you were there too. I'm pretty sure it was Edge and Kane, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Edge and Orton is what Bobby's mentioning too. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong with Edge and Orton. There's a lot of great one-on-one matchup that Edge has had in his career. But I mean, for me, on a personal note, of course, it would have been seeing him in a live capacity against Kane, even though it wasn't like the best match of the night or anything like that. It's just that cool experience factor. But I'm always going to be more a fan of him with Christian, because as much as I like Edge, I like Christian a little bit more. I just think he's a little bit more entertaining, and I think that on a wrestling level they're equally as good personally. So I love that combination. I think the two work so well together. You can tell that they're lifelong friends. They just can make those kind of jokes with each other, and it works. Yeah, it really does. I really honestly hope that sometime they will get to connect again, not necessarily at All In or in AEW, but just connect again, doing podcasting and talks and all that kind of stuff that they can do together, because they just have a charisma that works.
Yeah, I remember during the Cauliflower Alley Club, I actually had the opportunity to meet Edge, and that was absolutely amazing. After just doing a northern tour with Tony Candelo, which Edge did as well. We heard some stories along the years of, who did what and whatnot. So had to ask. And then so it's always fun to kind of just reminisce about, similar experiences. And just the fact, like, it was just really nice just to kind of meet him and how down to earth he is, how friendly he is, and how real he is. He's just an honest human being. But in terms of like a favorite, like my favorite live match also will be It's not the one against Ed or against Kane at Backlash as yours was. That was correct. It was WrestleMania 22, the hardcore match with Mick Foley, and kind of really seeing that as a true breakout match for Edge to kind of solidify himself as that main event guy. We saw that match, as Bobby said, like Edge versus Randy. Randy had a very similar experience on that Backlash 2004 card with Mick Foley, which really seemed like Mick Foley, like that's what Mick Foley was at some point, was a guy that helped take you to that next level. He even did it with Triple H in the 2000s, if people really remember that. Just shows a different side of them. But getting to see that match, and it was just phenomenal. And then seeing him again, like just at the Royal Rumble in this past January, was really cool. But I mean, I can't be refrained from saying that guy has probably one of the craziest memories and highlights out there, and that is taking or giving that spear to Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 17 as he jumped off one ladder as Jeff Hardy's dangling off the titles that are hanging in air. Just one of the most beautiful and dangerous spots that you could see. Just the slight and just how good he was. He made sure everything was perfect. He's just that different type of professional when it comes down to the wrestling business. Like, he is such a different mindset. He's a welcome mindset, as we saw the formation of the Judgment Day and how different that was. He made sure to change up his hair. He made sure to change up the theme. Everything you liked about Edge, the baby face, he took away for that. He's very intelligent on reading a crowd, understanding what you have to do. So Bobby's coming in saying Edge and Seth Rollins, like, again, like, those are matches where he's helping elevate that person a lot. And it's just very good stuff. Like, I thought this last Edge run, like, might have been, like, even if you just look at, like, his body of work, there's very little that was bad about it. People talked about Shawn Michaels' second run being better than his first. And I'm saying in some years, we're going to look at this last run by Edge and say, you know what? That was pretty damn good, especially when you're taking into account that he's turning 50 this year. That's unheard of.
I barely want to walk up a flight of stairs, and I'm only 40. God forbid if when I'm Edge's age.
And I do want to fact check you once. You did say earlier about instead of wrestling Sheamus, he could have wrestled LA Knight or somebody younger. LA Knight actually is younger than Sheamus.
Now, I said somebody younger or LA or like an LA Knight, and I said LA Knight in the sense that it's like he's over, but he's never been put in that position yet. Like, Sheamus has won belts. Sheamus has won different things. That's kind of where I'm going with it, is like LA Knight could use the rub in the sense that they're starting to make him that star. And I agree with you, he's not young, but like that's the way I pictured it, is just young in his WWE run.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, when you reference or somebody younger, I know you're meaning somebody like an Austin Theory, like that kind of age, other than the age of a Sheamus. But I'm also saying, by technicality, LA Knight would have been somebody younger and would have counted in that phrase as well.
Definitely younger than Edge for sure. I mean, there's
younger than Sheamus. Most of the Sheamus is 45.
Oh, okay.
Sheamus is 45. LA Knight is, I believe, 40. So
40,
yeah. So weird. So many 40-year-olds in professional wrestling right now. That is a testament to how people take care of themselves nowadays.
It's also a testament to how much work they've put in. Like, again, like LA Knight, aka Eli Drake, has put in so many years of hard work and everything like that, and kept consistent with it, that it's paid off finally. And everyone's like, they're trying to, like, I know the comment's been made before about people in their 40s getting a push, but it's like LA Knight really didn't get a push. LA Knight pushed himself. That was the difference. He pushed himself and got himself over, kind of thing. And it's a testament to all the hard work he's put in and how much attention he's paid, and just the experience level. That's the big difference. The experience level between an LA Knight and somebody younger on the roster is he knows how to walk the walk and talk the talk right now, kind of thing. And that's what they need. They really need people on that level that can pull stardom, to the fact that it's like the advertising for this last Friday with the Bloodline not being present was that LA Knight's their star.
Mhm.
That was the advertising to it. So again, they're, starting to make a star because he is at that caliber that they can allow him to go out there and let the fans eat out of the palm of his hand right now.
And when people are talking about, why didn't they do this with LA Knight? Why didn't do that? Yeah, I mean they could have. But also when you allow kind of a situation like, no bloodline around, and he is the guy that they look at. Okay, here's the opportunity. You're going to lead off. He didn't necessarily lead off the show, but he was part of that opening segment. He had that opening matchup with Austin Theory, which, I mean, that is a matchup people wanted, right? Yeah, it wasn't for the United States title, but it had United States title implication. LA Knight's refereeing how much he wanted that championship. So there is a directional standpoint, but at the same time, yes, it was overshadowed by probably the most obvious match interference by Miz, but at the same time, it's leading to something larger than the situation he was. That means LA Knight is being put in a position to succeed right now and an opportunity to evolve. And the one thing he's doing is basically what most promoters say: if you can get over, we will definitely look at using you a lot more. And that's the biggest thing in WWE. If you can get the people behind you, you have a better shot of being a star than if they don't care.
See, and my gripe's never been with the fact that they didn't pull the trigger, putting a belt on him or anything like that. My whole thing is like, they really like to go, hey, we've got a star on our hands. How about if we make them lose 50 matches in a row? And that's my issue. It's like, if you can do, like, it's the same problem they had with Bray Wyatt when Bray Wyatt was red hot with the Wyatt family. It's like, here, how do we make this guy a bigger star? Let's have everybody fucking pin him. Like, no, that's not what you do. It's not about whether you can insert them in a title picture right now. Have them have some meaningful, high caliber wins. And I know that that's where they're leading with the Miz thing, and I get that, but don't chump the guy out 100 times on the way up. Like, if you're going to put him over Miz, then that better be the start of this is going to be a more consistent LA Knight victory run. Because that's where LA Knight needs to go at this point in his career, is he needs to go on a string of wins and start looking convincing as a main event player.
Yeah, and I do think, like, during that time, I think there is times where as a viewer, you're looking at a situation and be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. They got to do something right now. Whereas maybe behind the scenes, they're like, okay, you know what? If this is sustainable, this happens for maybe a month, okay, we'll definitely look into it. And I do think there's that difference of opinion and difference of mentality, whereas the fans see something right now and want it right now, whereas there's a little bit more patience behind the scenes. And I think that there has to be some sort of understanding, even though I do 100% agree that you can't lose all the time and be expected to be a winner. I mean, look at Dolph Ziggler, prime example.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe that guy in a title match on the main roster anymore, because every time he's in there, they always have him on the short end of the stick.
And not everybody.
Sorry. I was just saying, there's that believability of the situation.
And like I'm saying,
that isn't there.
I'm old school in the fact that it's like, you don't have to have a guy be a title winner to be a top guy. Yeah, and that's like, and that could be the case with LA Knight. Like, I'm not saying, because they didn't give him the US title or because they didn't do that I can get, but it's like, it seems to be like you're throwing him out there to do his stuff on the stick. Great, because he's great at it and people want to see it. But then when I see things like, on this particular night of SmackDown, we had 50 minutes of Bloodline and LA Knight did something during a commercial break with Flop Dollar and the rest of Hit Row. Like, I'm like, why? That's fucking insulting at that point. You got this top guy on your hand. He should be out there in a match or something with somebody on the roster. It doesn't have to be a title picture, but somebody that makes sense, that helps to continue to elevate him, to make him someone believable, so that if you ever decided to put him in a title match, there is that suspended disbelief that maybe he wins the belt. Even if he's not going to, or he's not going to be your guy to win a title, at least you believe going into it he could. Right now, the way LA Knight's career has run in WWE so far, he's a great talker, but not one person out there right now, I think for a second, if they were to throw him in a match tomorrow with Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, believes for a second he's the guy they're going to pull the trigger on winning the belt. Yet.
No, but I don't know if see, when it comes to that, I think there's a level of, I believe that when they drop the title from Seth Rollins, that they're giving it to somebody specific anyway. Like,
Damian
I look
Priest.
at the mid card, or even Gunther.
Or Damian Priest as a babyface. Even if it does end up back on Seth, they're willing to flop belts back and forth, but I think they're going to give Priest even a short run with it.
Yeah, but like my point is, like, I just don't think, like, I think those titles, like the one that Roman has and the one that Seth had, they're more, these are guys for the next year with this title, unless something drastic goes.
And Ed, but that's the problem with some professional wrestling, is that if you don't believe that there's guys that can pull that off or that can have that opportunity to upset them, especially if the champion were to underestimate their opponent, then it kind of kills that run of the champion as well too. Because if you don't believe there's any credible opponents for them, it's hard to believe that they're a viable champion other than they're the champion of something they're overqualified for, kind of thing. That's like Michael Jordan going back and winning a basketball match in high school when he's 40 and being like, yeah, I'm the best kind of thing. It's like, no, because you're against unexperienced high school students that didn't play in the NBA, bro. Like, I think they need to build more credibility to guys where you could believe, even if it's not going to be the top guy, that even an upper mid-card guy, there's that tiny, tiny shred of belief that if the champ took their eye off the prize for 1 second, that they might pull the trigger on somebody different.
One of the things I think is a missed opportunity, and this is what I wish we would have saw right before WrestleMania this year, is have that 6-man tag match in front of, just on the SmackDown, and you're seeing Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes team up against Jimmy, Jay, and Roman, and for the first time in a non-universal title match, but in a 6-man, a throwaway match that really doesn't have gigantic implications on a situation, has gigantic implications on a visual. And if we would have saw Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns in that match, we're now looking into WrestleMania as way more of a shoo-in than anything else. He's proven he can do that, right? Yep. Stuff like that. And I think that is something, just an example. You can mix the pieces out there. But if LA Knight was to pin, say, U.S. champion in a non-title match, or say he pinned Seth Rollins in a non-title match, all of a sudden now you've seen that he can do it. And I think that is a bigger mistake than necessarily what he's doing week to week. He just needs one defining moment. And I think anybody needs that. As soon as you see that it's believable that you can beat that person, why can't they do it a second time?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm always a big advocate for champions being pinned in a non-title match. It can be used sometimes and it can be used well, but the problem is when you do it consistently, it starts to make your champ look like their matchups outside of their title defenses don't matter because they do it too often. That's the problem. Well, that's the problem with most things in wrestling, is they do it too often and it takes away any of the fun factor from it or any of the meaning behind it. I think that you could also do it in the sense of like, hey, somebody that maybe has beaten Seth and gotten the best of Seth. Like, can you imagine LA Knight gets that upset victory over a Cody Rhodes, who Seth has never gotten the best of. Now you can put LA Knight in a match with Seth and believe for a second this could be the guy, because he's beaten the guy that Seth couldn't stop 3 times, kind of thing. So there is ways around it without even having to make your champion be the one to take that fall.
I think like we're guilty of that, even just in the sports. Like, how many times, like, even if like your team like has a hard time beating another team, but you could beat a team that all it does is beat the team you can't beat. You're just like, okay, we should be able to beat them now, and then you don't. But that's why you play the game. That's why you have the match. That's why you go. That's why you see it through. Is the whole point. But at the same time, like, yeah, I just think that there are always a different way to do something, and there's always an option to do something that isn't the obvious. And I don't believe that there's nothing we could have done. Like when I hear that creative has nothing for you, then I'm like, okay, well then creative isn't smart enough, or you're not thinking, okay, let's collaborate with some ideas. Something seems like there's a restriction on that process to begin with if your result is nothing. Because in the world of professional wrestling, if you can't think of something, oh boy, I think the problem is you.
You know how many times creative didn't have anything for Miz and nobody wanted him back? And then he said, "Tell with that, I'll find something to do." And look at him now. Like,
I mean,
you know, how many people when they saw Miz coming to WWE were like, "Fuck this guy. I don't want to see this guy on my TV ever." And he just stayed consistent. He's like, "Okay, they got nothing for me. I'll sweep the floors. I'll go do the autograph signings. I'll do this, this, and this until they have something for me. And then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to keep doing it, whether people want me to or not." And now people respect the hell out of him. I can guarantee everybody in this chat right now, anybody watching this on a rerun, myself, probably yourself as well too, we didn't like the Miz coming in because this was an outsider coming in that knew nothing. He was a punk from reality television. He looked like he was just somebody who was there for the opportunity because he couldn't make it anywhere else. But then he showed something different. He showed a consistency, he showed a will, and he showed a respect to the business. And over time, garnered that respect from all of us. And we appreciate it more than ever. And that's why, again, like even Ed on Wrestle Draft the one night saying that The Miz is a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer in the making because he has done it all at this point.
Yeah. I can flat out say the reason.
Oh, Josh, you know secretly that when he gets that Hall of Fame induction, you're, oh, you know, that Miz wasn't so bad after all.
I didn't hate the Miz for the reason you stated, is that he was an outside guy coming in, strictly because I, at the time, had no idea what he did beforehand. The only thing I knew before WWE and his run that he did is that he was second on the $1 Million Tough Enough, losing to Daniel Puder, which I thought he should have won. And I wanted to see him because what I did know is that out of the two, he was training to wrestle. He cared about it. But when it came down to like his on-screen character, I just didn't care about it as much. It's when he started being more consistent and becoming more like, obviously, like when you watch somebody and they're green, you know they're green. It's hard loving them right away, but there's something. And it's really when he got to that title match with Randy Orton and won Money in the Bank and that run and did that. That's when you started realizing, okay, this guy is finally understanding who he is. And that's when it was hard to stop like hating him because you didn't like him because he was putting it together.
Well, and I think like, and I get where you're coming from, but I think a lot of people that didn't know knew him as the goofy, arrogant little prick that he was on MTV's The Real World. And it's like you jumping from Run reality show to now a wrestling reality show. And it made a lot of people question about whether or not he's there for the right reasons, or is he just there because that's what his agent found him next kind of thing. I was like, hey, there's another reality show opportunity. So Big Brother wouldn't sign you this summer, but maybe you could go over and try to be a WWE superstar for a week. You know, I think that's the impression that a lot of us had when he came in there. And then he changed our minds with time, with that hard work and dedication. You know, unlike a Jesse Goddard who just, you know, went and did Big Brother 100 times. But so, if they're Chelsea, what's wrong with Chelsea? Like, is this a knock on Chelsea Green? Like, is she really that bad? I didn't think she was that bad.
No. I think her current run is one of the best runs she's clearly done in WWE, simply because it's a run. She never really got off the floor before.
Well, and let's keep in mind too, like Chelsea's not that far into her career as a professional wrestler yet. It's not like she's been doing this for 2 decades. I mean, she's had a lot of great things happen along her run far.
What modern day wrestler in the women's division has been doing it for 2 decades in WWE right now?
Trish.
Okay, but when you really consider, okay, if you take like 8 years off, I'm sorry, I don't count that as like it counts.
Okay, then Victoria.
Okay, but she's not in WWE.
So she still wrestles.
I'm saying current. No, she doesn't actually.
Well, I mean, okay, but she did. She consistently wrestled for at least a couple decades.
Yeah, no, sure. But I'm saying like the current. Like I'm just saying like we're fighting it hard now for people to be like 2 decades. Bobby did.
Oh, for sure. She's
great. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I honestly think there's more that can be done, and I think that we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. I think that she's playing it smart enough right now to get into that position. Like, creative doesn't necessarily have something for you. But she's doing enough online and making herself relevant that now they're starting to go, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Bobby. That's 110%.
I was really waiting for you to say that one.
I blanked on it, and I shouldn't have, because Natalia's phenomenal.
But at the same time, she didn't start in 2003, did she? Not with WWE.
When would she have started with WWE?
I think it was.
It wouldn't have been long after she was getting into the business, man. Like, I don't think she did a whole lot outside of the WWE other than training in the dungeon. But
that's interesting. It'd be nice to see a woman hit the 20-year mark with WWE.
And her training in the dungeon would have been around like 2001, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
pretty sure that was.
I think
it was because it was the class when I was. Oh, sorry.
I want to say before 2010, like in the 2008-2010 time frame was probably when she started. If not,
maybe a little bit before. Somewhere around there for sure. Yeah, because I know like it would have been about 01 or 02 when she trained in the dungeon, because she was in that same class that would have been right after I was in high school, when I was thinking about it and decided not to for personal reasons, end up going. But that would have been like,
so she debuted in 2008.
Yeah. Okay. 2000. Yeah. Ed saying Indies from 2000 to 2007, WWE 2007. That's fair. Again, and like, I mean, in Indies, we're talking like she probably would have worked a lot of Western Canada here and stuff like that for a while and everything. So,
yeah, it's just like you don't see a lot of people nowadays who have been consistent for the 20-year mark in the women's division, and that's really difficult. So the fact that, well, I mean, it's why she has so many awards too, but
she's fantastic. Let's not kid ourselves. Natalia is a Hall of Famer, and she's done everything she's ever been asked to do, and she still works great in that ring and teaches others and elevates others.
Yeah, and just wait till when she becomes one of the main female presence on the Performance Center in terms of like helping out the next generation. That's going to be just a massive win for the developmental system for WWE. But to go back to the Chelsea Green, is great ring. I think a lot of people do not know yet about Chelsea Green because you need more of it from it. She's in the middle of something that she's going to turn some heads with this run with the women's tag team titles. And the single fact that they allowed her to keep the championship and then do this Chelsea Got Talent stuff, even though, yes, on Monday, it was very short-lived, but it was very easy just to, your partner gets hurt. Okay. Titles are vacant. We've seen that countless times for those exact championships. But the single fact that they kept it on her says something about what the company believes she can do and how important she could be to revitalize the importance of those tag team titles. As we saw Monday, I think Piper Niven just took the title and be like, I'm champion now. Which I liked.
That was funny. That was funny. I like, and again, like Chelsea doing this, I mean, it's not far off of what Matt Cardona did back in the day when he was Zack Ryder and they had nothing for him or didn't want to put him on TV. Went and got over doing stuff online. I mean, and it's smart. It's wise to do because, again, Chelsea's going to go and show her personality through doing that, through doing these segments. And again, the more that reaction that happens to it and the more people pay attention, the more that I think there's that great. I've seen her in Barry. You're a sour monkey sometimes, Barry. Come on, she wasn't the hot mess you're making her out to be.
Yeah. But you know what is a nice little hot mess though that we appreciate here in our local establishment?
Calendars.
The calendar, yeah. I mean, I
see it like we're that in sync now. I just know.
Also, after an hour and 19 minutes, I'm thinking it's a great idea too.
Let's let people know about the great content coming up at our local establishment this week. It's calendar time, baby. So we got a busy calendar coming up for you guys, as you saw there. Lots of great stuff coming out, but also I'm going to be probably doing a lot of game streams for you guys this week in the early afternoons because I've got a whole week of spending time with you guys here. It's going to be a Bobathon all week long.
A bombathon.
A Bobathon. Sure?
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you sure you want to use that name?
No, we'll tag it as secondhand high episodes, but ultimately it's the Bobathon.
So if you guys are bobbing for content, check out Bobby Munson this week as he'll be game.
So apparently you're being exposed for theft here, from what I'm reading in the comment section, though, Parrish.
My DDT from Iris.
From Iris. You didn't ask Iris for permission?
No, fuck Iris. I do what I want when I want, all right? Iris, maybe Iris stole it from me. Ever think about that? Did you even do your research there, Joshua Joseph? All right? You ever think that Iris, even though it might be a good song by the Goo Goo Dolls, it also could have been a big fan of Chris Parrish back in the day. And maybe, just maybe, that lawsuit that you think is out there got pushed under the rug because the judge says, hey, Iris, how about no, you stupid old bastard, who was Parrish's to begin with. So,
speaking of lawsuits, man, that MLW one's causing some real problems over on the WWE side right now, from what I've been reading. Because apparently Court Bauer now in the lawsuit or whatever, as part of the discovery portion of it, is asking or demanding the past 20 or 22 years of business dealings and stuff between WWE and its partners to try to expose that the WWE has held people from, being able to allow other companies to book in certain places, to be able to work on certain channels and stuff like that. I mean, I know where this is all leading, and it's leading to Vince and his money being able to put a stop to this and not really paying any consequences. But in the meantime, Court Bauer just ain't taking any shit. He's like, no, I'm going to put you to task. I'm going to at least try. So.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you have it in your contract with, say, like a television company, and it's like, okay, we're gonna rights, but we are the only wrestling promotion you can play, and they agree to it, that's not on WWE.
I don't think
a contracted thing with the network that needs to be. I'm just thinking that's a very hard thing to prove. Is all I'm saying.
I don't think, like, if you look into it a little further, it's not so much about, like, say, like, they have a deal with Fox or they have a deal with this and those guys not doing it. It's the fact that it's like other companies where it's like, well, if you potentially want some WWE content a little bit, we're going to dangle that carrot there. And if you want it, you can't ever allow a wrestling show outside of us to be involved with your company, kind of thing. And I think that's kind of came about when MLW was trying to work out that deal with Vice, and that fell through and stuff. And that's when the initial lawsuit, the first lawsuit, came through that got kiboshed. And since then, it seems to be like the stuff with Reels that came up and all this that kind of keeps unfolding, which seems to have allowed them to go, wait a second, like, we're tired of this. We feel like we're getting bullied and being prevented from ever getting these deals. Like, they seem to have worked so hard to get, and then it seems to get crushed right away as they're starting to pick up any momentum.
Also, did you guys even watch me? I didn't even do a DDT. I did a neck breaker that I came up with on my own that the WWE has now put in the game.
Yeah.
Do your research.
It's called the parachute, guys.
Yeah. I even have 5 different versions of it.
And you know what? That parachute got him on the PWI's top 500 list. Was it?
Yes.
6 times?
Suck it, Joshy. No, just but yeah, no, I mean, to be weird. Yeah, your lawsuit is fake news. I'm glad that you're admitting it. See, it's a great therapeutic session of busting out that we are today. The voice.
Speaking of which, remember this Thursday night is the pub trivia night on Ring Respect Radio, where if you want to get your battles in, that's the night to do it. That's the promo heavy night between the fans on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, which is really funny because Brian, like, he has a Twitch. I know it. He just chooses never to. And then he says, "Oh, you're afraid to go on YouTube?" No, buddy. Come on. Just win on both. Be that.
He claims that's what he's doing. He's coming in with the Twitch and YouTube side this week because he wants to unify the Twitch and YouTube championships.
Yeah. I mean, if Roman Reigns can go and take both, why can't Brian Carter? Come on. No, come on. But it's what you really, if you really want to shut people up, you just have to be undisputed.
That's fair.
You can't argue with undisputed. But yeah. Speaking of that, I think we're undisputedly
Done for
running some dry on the topic. So
we've undisputedly come to an end of the program where we start to look for places to go, people to raid, people to high five on our way out.
But Bobby,
yes,
in a delayed way, can you tell people how and where you can find you and what you have coming up this week, so I can have time to look on who we could raid?
Well, for those with capable eyes that are able to read, you will find that ticker down below. That's where you can find me, Bobby Munson, in terms of reaching out to me. But if you want to watch me on screen, which, one or two people do every once in a while, I'm, of course, here every single Sunday next week, as mentioned, with Ed and Astrid joining me as they're taking over Bustin' Out. Thursday, of course, I will be joined again with Papa Smokes for Ring Respect Radio. It's Pub Trivia Night 2. So come on out. Come and join us for a little bit of wrestling trivia on the show on Thursday night. And, of course, I just dropped a new show on Friday there with the gold standard Carl Carafell. Got the Pod Life talking all about music. We talked about the music of Korn on Friday night as it was the 25th anniversary since they released their third studio album, Follow the Leader. Check that out. It's available now. And, of course, all week, like I said, it's the Bobathon. You're going to be able to watch me poorly playing video games all week long.
Awesome. And as we just look at all these comments there, as it's just nonsense. So as we'll go to
you, man.
Well, I mean, can't say I'm not wrong. But yeah, you can find me in all the beautiful socials there as I'm on the X. I'm on the Instagram. I'm on the Threads. Follow me on the X at Chris Parrish. The Instagram and Threads at Chris.Parrish. The Twitch at the Chris Parrish. YouTube and Kick at Chris Parrish. And then obviously this Wednesday, the return of Wrestle Draft. If WWE is going to say after 2 weeks that they're going to return Roman Reigns to their broadcast, and I'm doing the same thing. 1 week off, and we're back. We're back with the lead up to our next PLE, but so far we got a lot of good little stuff out. So go check out Ed Fries and I this Wednesday at about 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time when we bring back the next edition of Wrestle Draft. And then obviously tomorrow is the Monday Night Watch Along for Monday Night Raw with Carl Carafell, Chris Best, OMD, and myself. So come check that out. And then next week, join what will be the taking over edition of Busting Out. If things get too out of hands, and if the tracks are really going off, I'll just tell Toronto to stop my flight because I need to make a run in there too.
So are we gonna make someone's day with a raid today, or what are we up to?
Yeah, I got a raid. I'm gonna go outside the box here. Not somebody that we tend to follow. Got an Dolce playing some Madden 24. So go check her out. Give her the love, the support. Let us know, or let her know who sent you. And that is our local establishment, as you'll be directed there in about 8 seconds time. So yeah. And so figure, why not try something new today?
Yeah, give it a shot. It's always good to try to help people out. Give them a good OLE welcome as you're heading over right now. And if you're on the YouTube side of things, you're still with us for a couple more seconds as we let you know it's been fantastic seeing you this Sunday. We can't wait to see you next Sunday. But in the meantime and in between time, guess what, folks? You've been busted.